Good evening, Blues. Welcome back to another episode of the Mersey Blue podcast, sponsored by the amazing Andy's Man Club. So tonight, first of all, we've got the full crew back together. We are back to full strength. We've got Carl returning from illness. How are you, lad?
A lot better, thank you very much, mate.
Excellent. And we got Marco back from Los Angeles after technical problems. How are you, my mate?
Doing better, bud. Nice to have us all back together.
Yeah, get the band back together, eh, boys? So let's get into it then, Blues. So the lineup is our normal 4-2-3-1. Jordan Pickford between the sticks, Big Jake at right back, Tarky and Keane in the middle, with Mikalenko at left back, Garner and Garner in the midfield. Our front line of Ilian and Jai, KDH and Jackie G, all backing up Beto. Okay, so the first half. I thought at first, I think we had like a decent lineup out, but I would have preferred Thierry, Barry to Beto. I really would. But I thought we had a decent start to the game, to be fair. I'm going to jump in with a little interlude, which I thought was really, really nice, and I think that he owes a mention. Is on the 6th minute, they applaud for young Bradley Lowry, the little Sunderland fan, who we had an affiliation with Sunderland and with the little man himself. Obviously, he passed away, so it was nice to have a 6th minute applause for him. And his mum has actually come out today and thanked Everton for that, which, you know, we've got a special relationship between the two clubs. So, yeah, a little moment there for Bradley. Back to the match. So we had an early chance for Beto. He shot straight at the keeper. Ilian Jai, he had an effort after a Keane and Dewsbury Hall. Nice little pass through. And then on the 18th minute, we got the breakthrough. We had a corner. West Ham were known for being terrible from corners before the match anyway. They're not doing great this season. Corner comes over, gets cleared out. I think it comes to Garner. He plays a little pass to KDH. Dewsbury Hall passes out wide to Jimmy Garner. Garner just plays an absolutely beautiful ball into the area. There's Michael Keane, loses man, big header, lovely finish. 1-0 Everton, beautiful goal, great header. We were on our way. A few more chances towards the end of the first half, most notably KDH. He headed wide when it was probably easier to score from an Ilian and Jai cross. And really, for me, lads and listeners, the game should have been out of sight by half-time. It really wasn't. Wasted opportunities, and I'm not sure why Beto has actually got a pair of boots, let alone is starting. And I do like Beto, but not his greatest night. Half-time, Everton 1, West Ham 0. Marco, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, so it was great to see Keno getting offensively involved and having it pay off for him. I love to see it when Keno scores. I think he's got a nice nose for the net. And so, you know, we know that he's not been the greatest the last few years, or at least he's taken a lot of stick for his performances. But this year so far, you know, he's contributed quite well. The possession time, I feel, I took the possession time off of SofaSport. I don't think it told the story. It said it was 51-49 even in the first half. But I kind of feel like the ball was in the Palace end like 90% of the time of that first half. They kind of went into a defensive posture. We didn't have a whole lot of penetration. There's a lot of passing around the midfield area. But we had the ball. Grealish, I think it's fair to say that they're starting to key on him, right? He didn't get a whole lot of room. There was a lot of times where in games past where he would be facing one defender, but he was facing two this time. I don't know if you guys picked up on that. They collapsed on him quite a bit. I know that there's been at least two shows where I've been banging on about not trying to make the prettiest cross to get hard, low shots. But we did that this week, and this Areola, he gobbled him up. There were no rebounds. I mean, there was one, but it was cleared. We saw some great flashes by KDH. Saw him, you know, dribble through a couple of multiple player sets and get out into the open. Obviously, they didn't turn into much, but you could see that he was firing on all cylinders. we shouldn't have to say it anymore. We all love Beto. We all love his pace. We all love his work ethic. But he didn't make much of the chances that he got. But to be fair, he didn't get a lot of service. There wasn't a whole lot of through passes. The one header that he did get on was straight at Areola, I think waist high, and it was gobbled up and nothing to make out of that. So, I like you, I felt like coming away from that first half that we'd come out, maybe make some subs at like the 65-minute mark, maybe the 70-minute mark, and get some fresh legs out there and bury them. We did the opposite. So I'll save the rest for my second half, my second half commentary.
Yeah, fantastic, mate. All good points. Can't disagree with that. Carl, what was your take, mate?
Oh, brilliant in the first half. I can't believe how his form has gone from zero to hero this season from last season. I was like all for getting rid of him come the end of the season. Get rid, don't want him. He's third, fourth choice at best. You know what I mean? But he's really come on, and the goal he scored was wonderful. You know, he's really growing in confidence now. And I think I've just read something online saying that this season he's got more of a different mindset. So he's concentrating more, which seems to be completely helping him. And I think he'll play on Sunday, whether Branthwaite's in there getting close or not. Gives Jared another couple of weeks with the international break coming up to get really fit. And then Boyce is going to have a bit of an issue, I think. Do you play Branthwaite because his pace and this, that, and the other? And he's by far overall a better player. So you'd want him in the team, but you're going to just drop Keane just because you can, not because he's playing badly. So I thought he was brilliant. Brilliant goal, as I said. James Garner was brilliant for the whole game, I think. I think he's just turned into a completely different player this season. I love watching him at the minute. Defensively, I think 100%. I love Jake, and I think he's playing okay. But we do need a proper right back. It's showing we've got no pace down the right hand side. Ellie's, I think, suffering because of it. I think he should play on the left. And I think you'll see him play on the left on Sunday. With the issue with KDH being suspended now and stuff. Whether that Dublin comes in and goes on the right and puts Grealish in the centre. Or, because they can all play intertwined, can't they? But in the first half, I'd say Beto, he had a couple of chances. Rubbish. I'd play Tierno Barry. I'd play him from the start, give him 4 or 5, 6 games, and let him work on it. Because while he's coming on for 10 minutes, or 15 minutes, I don't think he'd get a touch. I mean, I'll go on to talk about it in the second half, but I don't think he had a touch when he came on. Or very, very few touches. But overall, happy with the first 45 minutes.
That's a good shout. Have you got anything further to add, Mark?
Well, I was just going to say on that point about Keno playing great and us having a little bit of a conflict, like Carl said, when Branthwaite comes back. How do you guys feel about, putting Jake back in his natural position of center back, Branthwaite playing alongside him at center back, and maybe using Keno to come on for Barry at some point because he's tall, he wins aerials, he's got a nose for the net, and Beto's not producing. We got to shake something up. I mean, we know that Keno is good at the other end, and did he not start his career as a striker?
Yeah, he did. Originally, he started out as a striker. I think we've got to do something up front there, I think, without a shadow of a doubt, because we can't do that until January, transfer-wise.
Exactly.
Possibly Illy. Could Njai go up front, maybe?
I don't... But I kind of feel like we need him for the creativity. Like, those 3 players that we have, the attacking midfielders, they're such good in the transition play, and they're so good at dribbling through traffic. All the pundits were saying the same thing. The one team that's going to move us up to the next level, take us from top 12 to top 6, is that we're missing a striker. And I mean, I'm no expert, but I cannot disagree with them. That's the one, and it's making it so they're keying on the midfield guys, right? Grealish doesn't have the room that he did at the start of the season, and Dye doesn't have the room that he had at the start of the season. we're missing it, striker, and something has to be done, even if it's just to teach, even if it's just like the stick effect, like, hey, if you ain't playing right, we're going to stick Keno up there. You know what I mean? I'm wondering if that's going to have some kind of effect on making Beto improve his game, which is first touch and learning how to get shot off quicker when he gets service in the box.
Yeah, Carl, give us your quick thoughts before we go to a break.
I mean, I've seen a few things online before I came on tonight. They're saying about like possible formation changes. People have just thrown out there. And he said maybe putting Nearly up front, Dribbling on the right, Grealish on the left, and maybe Alcaraz in the centre. That's a possibility. Because I know Illy's played up front. I know it's not his preferred position. Or even playing Alcaraz as a false nine. And playing Grealish in the centre, Illy on the left, Dribbling on the right. There's a couple of possibilities maybe for the weekend. Whether Moyes will stick with that, go with that, or whether they'll stick with Beto, I'm not sure.
Yeah. All good points, guys. Okay, well, we are going to go to a break and a quick word from our sponsor, the amazing Andy's Man Club. Life is hard, and we all have bad days. There are times when we feel we can't cope. This is the time we need to reach out and talk to someone. Andy's Man Club offers local support groups nationwide, running every Monday from 7 p.m, except on bank holidays. In these groups, men can open up about the issues affecting their lives in a safe, non-judgmental environment. Our clubs are designed to be free of pressure. There is no obligation for men to speak, they can simply listen if they wish. Find us today at www.andysmanclub.co.uk. Help one guy, save one life. Andy's Man Club, it's good to talk. Welcome back, Toffees. That was our sponsor, the amazing Andy's Man Club. Remember, any lads out there who need this service, please access it. Our mental health is very, very important. Okay, so getting on to the second half. I thought it was an alright start to the second half, to be honest. Jackie G gave a nice little pass to Idrissa Gana Guy. He shot over the bar. And then we had a penalty shout, and it was a weird one. Ball comes over, the keeper, Areola, he parries it. The ball comes out, it hits the lad's arm. VAR said no. It wasn't a penalty for me. I don't know whether the boys will agree or disagree with me when they give their opinions, but it was a weak one for me. I mean, don't get me wrong, on the night I took it, but yeah. But I think none of us can actually say 100% what a penalty actually is anymore because of the awful officiating, and I know the lads will probably pick up on that later as well. And then there was a big chance for West Ham, probably their first one of the game, in truth, first real one. Big Jake, who had a little bit of a nightmare, to be fair. Ball comes over and he heads it back to Jordan Pickford, but it was way too short. I think it was Somerville. He latched onto it, he got in, and he got a little bit of a toe poke on it. And how the hell? It's just pure instinct from Jordan Pickford. He sticks his right leg out, and it just catches his leg and kind of ricochets and rolls wide. But again, I like Jakey, I really do, but he's a centre half out there and right back, isn't he? And then 65 minutes, the West Ham goal came, and I'll be honest with you, I really wasn't surprised. Ball comes in, Keno manages to get a little bit of a head on it, gets a glancing header. Ball comes over off Keane's head. It falls to Jared Bowen. I think it was Mikolenko who was by him. I thought he could have tried to close him down a little bit better. Anyway, Bowen just shoots, and I'm not sure if it doesn't catch a nick off Michael Keane. Goes past Pickford, 1-1. I couldn't argue, to be totally honest with you. That goal gave West Ham the confidence, and to me, for 15 minutes, they looked a better team. I honestly thought we're going to get done. I remember saying to the lads, we have a little Facebook Messenger chat going on during the game, and we're sort of talking and chatting, and I remember saying to them, we're going to get fucking done here, and I was convinced of it. I'll be honest. We made a couple of substitutions. 68 minutes, Thierry Barry came on for Beto. David Moyes earns a lot more money than I am, and he's the manager of our beloved club. But for the life of me, I really don't know why it took 68 minutes. I'd have brought Thierry on from the start. I really would, of the second half. Well, I'd have started him anyway, but you know what I mean. Too late for me. And then 80 minutes, we saw young Tyler Diblin come on for a pretty ineffective Ilian Njai. And again, I love the little magician, and I know the lads do, and I know most of you guys do, but I don't think it was his best game, to be fair. We got into it, or back into it, in the last 10 minutes. We had a late Jimmy Garner shot that could have won it. Just really disappointed. Full time. Everton won. West Ham won. Carl, thoughts?
Yeah, came on for the second half, started really, really well. On the front foot, I thought press, with chance after chance created, but nothing really, concrete in on goal, to score. As you said about the penalty or the handball, that's only a penalty, in my opinion. If Tarkowski's was the other week, and he gave that as a penalty, so it's a penalty for me. If it wasn't a penalty, then Tarkowski's wasn't a penalty. So get it right, get consistency. That's one of our big issues with the referees. Not one of them is consistent. This guy today, I'm not even sure who the referee was, but yellow card after yellow card after yellow card. We'll go on to talk about Dewsbury Hall's yellow card, which was a fucking joke, to say the least. His last 2 yellow cards he's suspended for Sunday now have actually been a joke. A free kick taken too quick. That's bollocks. And then this one here, where the referee was like, I don't know whether he said he was too aggressive or what, but he won the ball. Clearly won the ball. I mean, I had Sean Dyche in our studio, and I can't stand him like every Evertonian can't. But he was right. He said, there was no reason for that to be a yellow card. Absolute joke. But then, as you say, they got 65 minutes. They got the goal. Bowen. It was only ever Bowen that was going to score. It was none of their players really looked that effective. I like to look at that Juve on the left, and why we didn't go for him for 20 million is beyond me. Because he would have been a better 20 million spent than Asnu. That's maybe better in the long term, but we need someone now to push Mikalenko. He's not going to do that. I think Moyes is like, it's Tyler Dibblin, we'll bring him on slowly. You're paying 40 million for this kid. Play him from the start. He's had 33 games for Southampton in the Premier League, so he knows what he's talking about. And when he came on, I thought he looked quite effective for like the 10 minutes he was there. As you say, Illy didn't have his best game, but I think he's suffering. Although he plays on the right for Senegal, I think he's suffering with not having a pacey right back to go up and past him, so they can get the crossing. I mean, Jake O'Brien's done a really good job, but he's not a right back, and he's certainly not a bombing right back like we used to have. And you used to have like Seamus Coleman down there, and obviously Baines and Luca Dean on the left. I mean, that's when we used to have flying fullbacks. We need to get back to that. So disappointed in the end with the 1-1, but 60 minutes we had a decent show, and then just let it go to pot. As you said earlier on, why we didn't start with Tieno Barry. I mean, yeah, people think he's not good enough, but when he's getting 10, 15 minutes to show what he can do, he's not going to be good enough. He needs to start and play 4, 5, 6 games in a row, and then if he's not good enough, then find a way around it. But other than that, a point's a point in it, and it's their own. We're still unbeaten in the Dixie, so that's the only positive.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Just agreeing with you as well on like the refereeing or lack of. It's just fucking stupid. I've got this theory, apart from them all being blind wank stains, that they're just trying to make like a name for themselves and be more important than what the actual game is. It's just wrong, and they really do need to sort it out. Mark, I know you're chomping at the bit, mate. Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I got to beat the same drum on the same points that you guys did for the most part. I'm going to start my second half spiel with the positives. Dibblin coming on had some real flashes, again, dribbling through traffic, showed a lot of speed, showed a lot of killer instinct. I love seeing him, but he should have been on a lot fucking earlier. We're not using the young, fast legs that we paid for, just like Carl said, the way we should be. And they're not going to develop if we're not going to use them. We've got a lot of weaponry. And James Garner played a complete game. He's only getting better like fine wine. Great at both ends of the field and great in the transition. But in speaking back on the point of not using all of our weaponry, the guys were gassed. They looked gassed at the 72nd minute mark. That's when that 18-minute window started where the pitch seemed to lean towards our goal. That's where Bowen was left in the box with no one around him by 10 or 15 meters. He had time and space. That's the last guy that you want to leave alone with the ball on his foot, and he made us pay. Great teams play above the calls, but you cannot play above the refereeing that is this fucking bad, this fucking inconsistent. And again, just like Carl said, I could take these calls one way or the other as long as you're going to call them for the guys in the blue shirts the same way you're calling them for everyone else. That handball was a fucking handball if the Tarkovsky ball was a handball. And the yellow card that KDH got, not only was it a soft call, it should have been a yellow card going in the other direction. What was that all about? We got absolutely hosed on that. Jake O'Brien has got a problem. He's been doing it ever since the summer series. In the first game that they played in New York, I believe it was Bournemouth, he made a muffin pass back to Pickford. It didn't get there in time. The other guy swooped in and scored a goal. And he did it again in Chicago that we didn't get burned for. And then he did it again last night or the other day. If he's going to fucking pass it back to Pickford, it's got to be with intent and it's got to be accurate. He cannot be given these muffin passes back. That's not going to make it. The teams that we're playing, even the lower teams like West Ham, they've got enough of a killer instinct to pick up on those. He's just too timid with those fucking back muffin passes.
Yeah, totally agreed, mate. Carl, have you got any final thoughts?
What I thought, just one final thought, what I thought is bizarre. I mean, as though at the start of pre-season and stuff, you're saying, oh, we need all these extra players, and Moyes has obviously been the instigator in getting all these players in. I mean, you look at our bench, we've got £100 million worth of players that we can't afford not to play, and yet they're not playing them. 27 million for Barry, 40 million for Dublin, Hasno another 9 or 10 million. Alcaraz, he doesn't trust him clearly because he's not playing like he did at the end of last season, and yet he got us out of some scrapes and scored the winner in the last game against Newcastle. It comes to about like 90 or 100 million that we can't afford to have keeping our bench warm and not either bringing on earlier to change games or starting them. Because getting on the bench is not going to get any better, as Mark said earlier on. Getting splinters in the ass is not going to improve our team.
On that point, you know what I say? If we're going to go on the road and face some of these top 5 teams that are, City's still a great team. But if we're going to face some of these teams on the road where it's going to be highly unlikely that we're going to come away with 3 points, those are games that we should be putting those guys in at the 60, 65-minute mark and letting them get legit minutes. So at least we're developing our players and getting our money's worth so that when the time comes, they are ready to go. They are ready to make a contribution. I just don't know. If we're not going to test them then where? What is the fucking point?
Yeah, I don't know the answers, boys. I think my final thoughts on it. Like Jake O'Brien, he got roasted, didn't he, down his side in the second half. He wasn't backed up at all. I mean, he's a centre-half, for fuck's sake, isn't he? Beto, I love Beto, but he was awful tonight. He just shouldn't have started. For me, boys, this one feels like a loss. It feels like a kick in the balls.
100%.
I've heard people say it was 2 points dropped and whatever, but to me it feels like a loss. It's not great the way things are at the minute with an in-form Crystal Palace coming to the Dixie on Sunday. They're 18 unbeaten, and bear in mind, they beat the shite, which, I know amused us all, but I mean, they are the champions, and they beat them last weekend. And just to top the whole thing off, Keenan Dewsbury Hall misses the game through suspension. So I wish I could be a bit more positive.
Yeah, I was just going to say maybe the upside is that we'll see Dibsy getting more playing time, or maybe Charlie Alcaraz. But not only did Palace beat the shite, they beat the fucking hide off of them. They looked like a varsity team playing a junior varsity team. They didn't squeak out a win. They beat them, and Palace is going to be an uphill battle.
Yeah, 100%, mate. I'd take your arm off right now for a draw. Right, Mark, it's been lovely to have you back, my friend, and put the band back together. Where are you? Are you still in Los Angeles before we go? The Mark Watch?
Yeah, still in Los Angeles. I may have to go up to San Francisco to try to catch a ship here after next week, but I'm going to hang out here for a while and see what's going on. But the good news is that I'll get to meet up with the San Francisco Toffees and tell you all about where we meet up and how that group is, and always trying to meet the various groups, and grow the pod and get in touch with the supporters around the world of our great club.
Amen, my brother. Amen. And Carl, lovely to have you back, mate. I'm glad that the old sick bug's gone.
Oh, 100%, mate. 100% glad to get back into it.
With that in mind, thanks for listening, Toffees. Hopefully we're going to go the Dixie and we're going to do a typical Premier League, rip the form book up, throw it out the window and get a result against the Palace. With that in mind, thanks a lot, boys. Thanks a lot, listeners. Thanks a lot, Blues. Up the fucking Toffees.